Right. Well, now,
And
it's a fascinating book. When you look at it, I mean, it seems like a pretty little book here, but it's pretty fine print, and it really goes into incredible detail about how this could all work out, and has a
yeah,
beautiful introduction by you. How can people get a copy of the Constitution of the Federation of Earth?
well, you can just go on Amazon.com, right, and order it. Probably many people do that, but of course, the actual publisher is the Institute for Economic Democracy, that has their headquarters here in Virginia, and can be ordered from them as well.
Mhm.
Uh, um, and also from our website, uh, uh, www.earthconstitution.world. You can go on our website, and we have a store there, and that's one of the books for sale there too. So
And I know the
easy to
Citizens
get.
for Global Solutions has a book club that is discussing this book chapter by chapter. And
Yeah,
so maybe later Melanie will put in the chat, or one of you, how people can actually join that too if they want to have a more detailed discussion and talk with others about each chapter and the meaning and the significance of it. But of course, the key, more important question is, it's one thing to conceptualize a constitution for the earth. It's another thing to consider how that's actually going to come about. How will that reach the people of the planet? How will it happen? What's your vision for how this Constitution can become a reality?
well, the World Constitution and Parliament Association, as I mentioned, was founded in 1958, and under that, that was before I was, of course, part of it. But they began promoting it even then, even before it was the final version came out in 1991, because Article 19, which I think is another brilliant feature of this Constitution, Article 19, the last article, says that the people of Earth they have the right and the duty to start it now. We can start the actual mechanisms of world government, the features of world government now. And the main thing that we have done over these years, and that they began before I became part of this movement, was to hold sessions of the Provisional World Parliament. So this sessions of the Provisional World Parliament are not just conferences. They're not just peace conferences, which are a dime a dozen. They're happening all over the world. These actually are under the authority of the Earth Constitution, and people come from around the world as certified as delegates who are signatories to the Earth Constitution, and they have proposed provisional world legislative acts. And they study these acts, they debate them, they modify them, and they vote on them. And those that pass become world legislative acts. And to date, we have held 14 sessions of the Provisional World Parliament, and we have some 67 world legislative acts. And these can be found on our websites. And they're really, in my view, they're quite amazing. They're quite brilliant. They model for the people of Earth what could be done, right,
Mhm.
under the authority of the Earth Constitution.
The United Nations, the Secretary General of the UN has called for a worldwide global conversation on the future we want, the UN we need. Is that an opening, and has that been an opening for you to begin to further develop and inject these ideas into the global consciousness?
Well, that's one initiative. As we know, as World Federalists, people have been trying to reform the UN since it was founded in 1945. When they haven't had a lot of success with doing that. But there's been a movement in the last number of years, as we all know, for Article 109 review conferences. And so the UN, if it has never done this before, but they could call a review conference and review the charter, right? And that would open up the charter for possible change. And there's obvious changes that need that people have been calling for decades, like getting rid of the veto of the 5 permanent members on the Security Council and so on. So we support that. In fact, I'm a member of the board of the Democratic World Federalists. You may know them because they're centered in San Francisco. Their president is Roger Cotilla, and their mission is what is known as the San Francisco Promise. You know, the UN was originally founded in San Francisco, and when it was founded in San Francisco in 1945, they set up the charter as it is today, with the 5 permanent members having veto and so on. But the promise was within 10 years they would review that charter, and it didn't happen. Right, the San Francisco Promise was never kept. And so we support, you know, if they can review that charter, we'll be there with the Earth Constitution and be arguing that the charter should be replaced by the Earth Constitution. We don't want to abolish the UN. We want to embrace the UN's agencies and include them within a real constitution that has real capacity to solve planetary problems.